Sophia Fiatenge speaks for the Accra Region Police. We'll later hear from the IGP who is touring the OT region. But security experts are saying that the police must be blamed for failing to avert the violence in hotspots ahead of the December polls. Security analyst Adib Saani is joining us right now on Zoom so we can have a conversation on this. Adib, thank you very much for your time and for your patience in waiting. I believe you've been listening to what both sides have been saying. We've heard from the parliamentary candidate for the NPP. We've heard also from the NDC MP, Nilante van der Poy, and then Nilante Bannerman. I want to find out from you what you see, listening to both of them, what you see from your perspective as is at play here.
Well, currently, we wouldn't really be able to tell which side caused the confusion first. It is somebody's words against another person until a full-scale investigation goes into this. Then we get to know the facts of the matter. But of course, this is not the first time. It's not the second time. And probably would not be the last time, because what is currently happening is representative, is indicative of everything that is wrong with our democracy. Unfortunately, it is sad to say that we seem to be glorifying, we are celebrating the culture of impunity in the country. This is certainly not the first time such a thing is happening. But the question is, to what extent has the police been able to investigate? Has anybody been held to account? Has anybody been made to face the legal system? Of course not. As a result, a lot more people are gingered. You know, they are motivated to do the wrong thing. So far as it is political, you'll be left off the hook. But, you know, to further compound the situation is the needless, retrogressive, unnecessary interference in the work of the police from left, right, center. And it's making it extremely difficult for the police to do their work. But of particular interest is the fact that a lot of these political parties are flagrantly disregarding the law, because we have a Public Order Act. Just some few days ago, I saw on TV Director of Operations, Mr. Kwesi Ofori, talking to some youth, mostly Nigerians, who came out to demonstrate over what is happening in Nigeria. He was telling them that we have laws in the country, and before you embark on such an exercise, you need to inform the police 5 days clear. But the question I ask always, these political parties who on random basis can decide to go on a peace walk or on a health walk, do they do it with recourse to the laws? Because if really they had done that, the police should have put certain mechanisms in place on the ground to ensure that their routes are clearly defined, so we don't have these groups clashing. Unfortunately, things were done in a very disorganized fashion, and I wonder whether really indeed the police was in control of the situation. I doubt, because if really they were in control of the situation, we wouldn't have had this happening. But then you'll also
agree, Adib, that, I mean, look, if you look at the number, with the videos that are going around that we've seen, the sheer number of people who were involved in this brawl, as against the number of police personnel that would be deployed to, you know, for this particular walk, it certainly won't be advisable for any police officer to try and intervene. It certainly will put their lives in danger.
Well, if the police was adequately informed, they would have put adequate measures in place. No matter the number, there's an operational standard when it comes to dealing with large crowds that are usually adhered to. Okay. Unfortunately, the police seem to have lost control of the situation. But that notwithstanding, these days we have CCTV cameras all over the place. And I expected that Odododiodio being such a very important constituency, everybody talks about Odododiodio. We do know that there are about 50 hotspots that has been identified in the area. And I expected that we put certain structures in place, knowing how politically volatile the area is based on police records, because every district has a divisional command which produces reports on monthly, on quarterly basis to the police headquarters. So based on these records, based on the track record of the area and based on the volatility of the area, that is why we have resolved to point out some hotspots. So at least we should have put proper mechanisms in place so we are able to forestall this from happening. We could have plainclothes police officers, okay, mix up with the people and identify who the ring leaders are, identify who the perpetrators are. If we are able to make examples of 1, 2, 3 persons, it will serve as a disincentive to other people who think that by virtue of the fact that it is political in nature, you'll be left off the hook so they can go ahead and do it. This is wrong. We need to nip in the bud the culture of impunity, or oblivion of which part of the political divide you come from. The laws must work. Unfortunately, this always happens and nobody does anything about it. When our person fired shots, recently the Peace Council has called on the police to make available, okay, to make public the report. Nobody seems to know what is going into it. Niva de Vanderpoel, according to him, was allegedly assaulted in front of the Jamestown police station. But to date, nobody knows what has come.
So here we are, Adib, with this catalogue of electoral or election-related violence that we have not been able to resolve. What will be your expectation, and I believe the expectation of all Ghanaians, from the police at this point? Already, we bear in mind that, like you have indicated, you say there are interferences in the work of the police. Do we expect that will change overnight in the run-up to the election? What are your expectations of the police as you wrap up for me?
Well, with a heavy heart, I mean, I don't mean to be a prophet of doom or a naysayer, but with the trajectory we're going, it can only get worse until we do some changes, especially with respect to building confidence and trust in the police service. These days, a lot of these politicians, knowing they cannot trust the police, resort to the use of vigilante groups, okay, as a means of ensuring security. In recent times, a lot more Ghanaians are going for weapons in an unprecedented manner. That should give us signs. You see, the thing is, the warning signs are so pervasive. They are so glaring, but we're failing to see it. The police would also have to be professional. I do understand how difficult it is under the current circumstance for them to do their work. But they have to do their work with recourse to the principles underpinning their professional, their work. Police Service Act 350, the Code of Conduct, the Code of Ethics. The politicians would also have to be held to account, okay? We have to make a conscious move to disband these vigilante groups who are yet to, show their faces. I mean, this is just a rehearsal. Already in Kumasi, we've had a number of young men besiege a police station at Asawasi. There was flagrant disrespect of police officers to the extent that one of them even sat on the counter because, according to them, some of their supporters were arrested. There's the need for a consistent enforcement of the law. You don't do it and you are left off the hook because you are in power. Another person does it because he's from the other side, he's dealt with. When you do that, it results in people losing more confidence in the police. So, in all, there's the need for state institutions to be functional. State institutions would have to work, the laws would have to bite. Unfortunately, on this occasion, it looks more like, so far as it is political and based on your clout and which part of the political divide you come from, you're always left off the hook. And this is not good for our democracy going into the election.
Certainly not. Adib, thank you so much for your time and for your patience. Adib Saani is a security analyst there with the Jatike Foundation. He joined us via Zoom to talk about this. Now, his point essentially is that the laws will have to bite, but will it? And will the police, irrespective of the interferences that the security experts have said over the years, be able to unravel this particular issue so we don't have a recurrence? We're still monitoring this story. We'll bring you more when we do have it. In the meantime, IGP James Bueno has been on a tour in the OT region. He's been talking about security ahead of the election. We can listen to him now.
Consent. The policing of the elections will be done by uniformed officers, police officers, Ghana Fire Service officers, Ghana Prison Service officers, officers from the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Ghana Immigration Service. the BNI will be helping us from a distance, from let me say, in the background. As far as I'm concerned, the military will also support us by way of rapid response and by way of patrols. So this is what I know to be the architecture of the security for the general elections. Concerned, the policing of the elections will be done by uniformed officers.
James Opombueno is the Inspector General of Police. President Akufo-Addo has commenced a 2-day tour of the Greater Accra region in Tema. He's promising to deal with a housing deficit of over 2 million. This deficit requires 70,000 housing units to meet the demand, but inadequate regulation and high cost of houses built for sale have left 1/3 of Ghanaians living in insanitary conditions. Let's get on the line and speak to presidential correspondent Elton Brobe, who is with the team. Hello, Elton.
Thank you.
Elton, so bring us to speed on what President Akufo-Addo has been doing today.
So, like you said, the first port of call was Tema Community 22, where he commissioned a 45 million Ghana city affordable housing project for people in the public sector to access and own. That particular project was a collaboration between the Tema Development Corporation and a consortium of banks, GCB, Republic Bank, and Stanbic. Government described this as an affordable house because GCB has underwritten the mortgage amount involved, which means that those who have applied and have been given access to this 1- and 2-bedroom apartment can now rent and own. That is the ultimate plan of government. And government says that it hopes to replicate this in the other parts of the country to reduce the huge housing deficits and also to ensure that people own their own property within their working life. The finance minister says that the next MPP government, if elected in this upcoming election, will see housing as a main priority, where a lot of concentration will be dedicated to the housing sector, make it a major economic program for the government. If we are having influences because we are moving from one location to the other. Currently, we are on our way. President is about to address a game of chiefs and people floor. That's what happened. So from Community 22 in Tema, we moved to Bengakomo, where the home retrofitting project, which commenced last year, came to a close. President Akufo-Addo commissioned it, and it would guarantee 30 years of power supply to the country. Energy Minister John Peter Ameru mentioned, for example, the government has started the process of exporting 240 megawatts of power to neighboring countries. We generate so much power, we don't have use for it, but they've managed to convince some country within the sub-region to buy power from Ghana, and for instance, they're exporting 240 megawatts. President Akufo-Addo also mentioned, for example, that government is in the process of paying off all the debt in the energy sector, but ultimately, he made reference to the fact that his government is committed to ensuring that we have reliable and stable power supply within the country for as long as he holds the office of president. So, that's how it's been. It's been movement from one place to the other, involving commissioning, sword cutting of road projects to start, for example, with Tema and Akosombo. The government want to dualize it, so the sword cutting ceremony took off. Now we are heading to the core area where he's expected to address a number of chiefs and people, and to account to them what is done so far within the 3 or almost 4 years of his mandate as president of the republic.
Elton, thank you very much. I can very well see you are on the move. We'll leave you to it and we'll come back as and when there is a new development. Elton Brobe is our presidential affairs correspondent, and like you said, they're moving from Community 22, Tema Community 22, to another location where President Akufo-Addo is expected to address some chiefs there. Later tonight, the NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, is expected to meet with professionals from across the board. And that similar event was held this last week, I should say, for his running mates, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. We'll bring you live updates on that professional meeting when it happens between the professionals and former President John Mahama. This is still the Pulse with me, Gifty Andropia. So do you know how many there are, or how many of us there are here in Ghana? The last population census was held about 10 years ago. So today I have in the studio head of the Statistical Service who talk about the upcoming population census. I would love to hear from you. Send us your messages or your WhatsApps on 0540109009. Let's have a conversation. We'll be right back.